What's up folks, Lambert here at LambP Productions. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Today I want to do something completely different from the first two videos that I uploaded, because today I want to do a editing tutorial for you guys. I know a lot of you wanted to know how I edited the landscape photo that I showed in my video on why I shoot RAW. If you haven't seen that video yet, I will link to it in the description below. I challenge you to go and watch that. But I will show you the photo anyway. Here is the original RAW file. And this right here is the edited JPEG file that eventually went on to all of my social media sites. So as you can see, there is a very big difference between these two files, and the simple reason for that is the fact that I shot a RAW file. So I could do so much more with that file. So I'm going to jump over onto the computer and into Lightroom, and I'm going to show you exactly how I edited that file, how I processed it, and I hope that it will inspire you not only to take RAW photos, but also to play with the photos that you do take. Follow me. So jumping into the Lightroom catalog here, as you can see, my Lightroom app looks absolutely horrible because there are about 2,700 photos in the catalog right now. But the only folder that we really care about is this one down here, which contains the landscape files that I have been playing with lately. And as you can see, that file has already been selected. That's the landscape that we're going to look at. So I'm just going to go into the developer module here and hide that top just because it looks so much better. Just going to open the snapshots. As you can see there, I always create snapshots of the edits that I do. So this was the third edit that I did, and this here is the original RAW file that we are going to work with. Now, as you can see, the RAW file was it was extremely overexposed. It just doesn't look good, and it's not useful. I couldn't use this at all for anything because I don't want to put this onto anything that even remotely resembles a social network. So to start the edit, I'm gonna open the basic drop down here. I'm going to leave the temperature as it is right now. I don't like touching on the temperature before doing the rest of the processing. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to the exposure and draw that down. That's too far because the exposure was up. Let's draw that down to... That looks okay-ish. I think that looks good. The contrasting obviously now has to come in. If I drop the contrast completely, you see the effect that it has. So let's bring in some contrast. Too much contrast is something to be careful of. So I'm going to put this on around 40 for now. I might come back to the contrast slider a little later. For the highlights, let me show you the highlights. The highlights mainly change what you see up here in this area. So we're gonna have to drop the highlights because I want a little more detail to come through on that. So that's a little too far. Let me draw that in. That looks good. And the shadows are going to affect mainly the area here in front, as you see. So the shadows I want to drop as well. The shadows, if you drop them too far, it's not gonna look good either. So I'm gonna keep the shadows right over there. That looks good. The whites as well, again, too much, and so let's drop it down. I think around -50 should be a good place to leave the whites, and then the blacks are also going to have to come down because if I bring them up, it's going to bring more light into the photo, and I don't want that. I want to drop the light. I want to bring more detail into the photo. Well, blacks, that's way too much. So the blacks I'm going to leave around -60, I think. Yeah, -60 is right in between the different spaces. With the clarity slider, if you drop that down, it's going to take all that detail out. It's going to make it look all wishy-washy. You don't want that. So we're going to bring the clarity slider up around 60. I can bring it in a little more. I want a little more detail in those trees. 71 seems good. I know it's a lot. Bringing the clarity slider up that much seems a lot, but given the fact that this photo was so overexposed, I need that clarity slider to bring more detail into the photo. When it comes to the vibrance slider, then drawing that out, just gonna take out all the color. I just want that little extra color. I don't like bringing too much vibrance or saturation into any photo. Drop out the saturation. It's obviously going to go black and white, which I kind of like doing, but with this one I want that color in. Too much color is not going to look good either, so let's keep the saturation at around +10. +10 is usually my zone where I keep the saturation. When it comes to the tone curve, I don't really particularly like playing around with the tone curve here. My preference is just to go to the point curve down here and just say medium contrast. It just brings in a little more contrast. That's the only edit that I did for this. If you want to play with the tone curve on this photo and play around with that, you are most welcome. Now we're going to go into the color grading here. The red, the orange, the yellow, not going to make too much of a difference. Neither is the purple or the magenta. We mainly are going to be looking at the green, the blue, and the aqua. So I'm going to go to the singles here, start with the green. The hue and the saturation and the luminance are obviously what you can change here. You can't really see a difference on the green, but it does make a difference once you bring in the saturation and the luminance. The hue for the green, I'm thinking around 31 should be a good place. It's just going to bring out the green color. It's going to punch that color up a little more. The saturation needs to come up also around 30-ish, 31, 32. 31 seems like a good place to keep that. As you can see, it mainly changes. You see the hue and the saturation, the luminance of that green. You can really see down here on that tree. And the luminance, if I bring that up, it's going to be too much. So I'm going to bring the luminance down to around -15, -16. It should be a good place to leave it right there. Then we're going to go over to the aqua. The aqua is going to make a whole lot of difference in the image. You see the color change over here when I change the hue of that. So the aqua, I want to drop down because I want to bring in the green color a little more. I want to bring out the green in this photo. So I'm going to drop the hue, punch up the saturation some more. 29, 30, 29, 30-ish, 30, 31. Let's bring that down to 29. Let's keep it on 29. It's between that 39 and 27 where my sliders usually bounce around. So, and then the aqua's luminance, again, if I take it up too much, it's going to take all that detail out of that photo again. So I want to drop down the luminance. I want to force basically more contrast into the photo. So the luminance I'm going to drop to around 27, maybe it can lighten up a little bit. Let's leave that around 20. And then the blue. Obviously there's so much blue in this photo, so let's play with this one a little bit. The hue, if I bring that down, it's going to be too green. If you take it up all the way, it looks almost more purple than anything else. So the hue, I'm going to leave around 40. You'll see why. That'll come in a little later. You'll see why the hue is left there. The saturation, It's gonna go up around 20. That looks good. And the luminance, if I bring the luminance up, it's gonna take all that detail out again that I've been working so hard to bring in. If you drop it down too much, then it's gonna expose how badly the photo was taken. It wasn't my best photo ever. So the luminance, I want to leave around, let's leave that around -16. And that's going to be all that I'm going to touch on the color sliders. It doesn't look like the final product yet. You'll see the difference that's going to come in later. I want to sharpen this with the detail. The split toning, I don't touch on the split toning much. I don't really like doing that. With the sharpening, I want to bring in some sharpening into the photo. I just want to sharpen that up a little bit, bring the radius up to around 1.5 and the detail around 50. Let's leave the detail around 55. The masking, the noise reduction isn't necessary, so I'm going to close that up again. The lens corrections, I always use the lens corrections because it's the unfortunate side effect, especially of the Nikon, the kit lenses, that you get some form of vignetting in your photos. So I always activate the chromatic aberration fix and then the profile correction. This time it doesn't always pick up the lens, so the moment I select the Nikon, it's going to give me the right Nikon lens there, and it's going to change up the photo. You see that difference just popping out the photo a little bit more. The transformation effects, the camera calibration, I don't really touch on those. Those are things I just don't play with, just because it's not my thing. Now you see the photo doesn't exactly look the way that it looked when I uploaded it, and that's because I haven't done the color temperature and the tint yet. The tint is a little over, and the temperature as well. It's a little dark, so I'm gonna have to play with this. Let's bring the temperature up, bring more color into this. It was actually a warm day out in the Fairlands down there, so let's leave the temperature around 73. It looks good. It looks a good color, and just brings out the brightness in the day. And the temperature, the tint, I'm gonna drop down to around minus 11 is too much. There you go. Look at that green tint. It's no good. So let's bring the tint around -7. -7 looks like a good place to leave the tint. What I want to change still, as you can see, there's still a little bit of there you see the shadows up there. Those are actually the clouds that were in the sky that day. So I just want to take the saturation slider and bring that up also to around 20. It's going to bring in a little more color into the photo, and then that is my finished photo. That's the way it looks. So this looks slightly different from the one that I originally had that went online. So I'm just going to hit Command N. That's going to allow me to create a new snapshot, and I'm going to call this one Edit 4 because there are already 3 others. As you can see, there is just a slight difference in the color. I just want to close this back up and show you side to side. There you go. That's the difference between the 2 files. Alright, and now just to make it simple, I'm gonna right click here and export this to my desktop. My folders, my standard presets are ready, so just want to change the image sizing to 300 dots per inch and export. So that's it. Let's turn back over to the camera. Let's end this video. So that's all she wrote, folks. That's how that file was edited. I hope you like what you see, not only in the way that I edit the file, but also in the final product that I was eventually able to put out into the world. And again, I hope this video inspires you to take raw photos when you do go out, and also to take those photos when you get home and put them onto your PC, and to take those photos and put them into Photoshop or into Lightroom like I do, or any other processing software that you can find that can process that raw file, and to play with that photo and really make that photo your own. It's only going to make you a better photographer. It's going to give you a better end product to give to your client, and you're going to find that it's really fun as soon as you actually get into the workflow of processing your files from RAW to a JPEG. You get awesome results and you have so much more fun with your photos. To me, that's just my opinion. But as always, I'd love for you guys to comment on the video. Feel free to do so. Comment on the ways that I edit the photo. Comment on the final product that I put out if you feel free to do so. Like the video if you want, and subscribe to the channel. This really is only the beginning. I'm only going to keep doing videos and giving you guys more of the knowledge that I already have in photos, and keeping up with you guys and showing you what I learn. As soon as I learn something new, I'll most likely take a video and show you guys that new skill and help you guys to improve your photography as well. So until the next time you and I speak to each other, always remember to shoot the people that you love. See ya.